Yeah. So Hare Krishna and welcome to the different destinations after death. How we're going to go about today's session, it's going to be pretty interesting. So first we are going to be understanding who we are because as we all know that death is something that is inevitable, it is going to happen. But the question is everything finished after death? And if so, then what is finished, what is not finished? So for that, we need to understand who we are and we need to understand what is death actually. So everybody's got different perceptions of death. Let's get that clarified. We're going to be talking about the different types of species that are there as per Shastras, and then we will understand the different destinations through a very nice activity. So let's begin. Starting with who we are. Now, I request everybody to kindly look at the photograph which is there in front of you. And you can see that there is a child, and that child is growing from a young infant to boyhood to adulthood to an age where he's starting to dwindle, and eventually there is just bones lying there. So in all throughout, we can see that this person's bodies have been changing. You can see none of them are the same. Each body is different from the previous self. You were 2 feet at one point in time, now you are 5 feet. It's all changing, it's all growing. So what do Shastras say about this? Let's understand that. Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjun in 2.17 that which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. I think the words here that we're looking at is imperishable soul. That is what is kind of connecting all these bodies together. The person is the same, exactly the same, but the bodies are changing right from journey of an infant to becoming into skulls. So in this case, there is something that is common throughout. And what is that commonality? And that commonality, as per Shastras, is the soul. So Lord Krishna goes on further in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita to describe in detail about the soul. A lot of things are mentioned about this. We've just put some snapshots over here which are a bit critical. So what he says is that for the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any point in time. Now that is very interesting because here in this picture we are seeing this person come into skulls, means the body's died, the person is died. So how is Krishna saying that the soul has no death? And there is neither birth also, but we are saying that there is an infant over here. So what happens? He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So here Krishna is distinguishing that the soul is not going to be dying when the body dies. The body will probably disappear, but the soul has always been remaining. It has been eternal. There has never been a birth to the soul. The soul has come into being since time immemorial. It's always ever existing. It is going to remain for the rest of eternity as well. So that is a critical part, that as jivas we need to understand that we have always been there since the existence of time, since the existence, and we are going to continue to remain. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. This is again coming in Bhagavad Gita 2.22, where he's saying that basically these bodies are like clothes. So currently I am wearing a particular type of outfit. Tomorrow I'm wearing some other outfit. But does that make me that I am the outfit? No, I'm the person beneath that outfit, right? So similarly, this body is basically an outfit which the soul is putting on. And the fact here that Krishna mentions is that the soul, due to its contamination, due to the consciousness which has gotten contaminated, assumes itself to be this body. It's assuming that I am this outfit because it's wearing it and it's gotten attached to it. So when the body is dwindling, when the body is growing, the soul, or we are thinking that, oh, it's me that is growing and it is me that is dwindling. But We need to understand that we are separate from this body. We're just the occupier of this particular body. There is a spiritual evolution of consciousness. Now, there is a very interesting details that are given in our Shastras, that how do we get this body? This human form especially is supposed to be considered very rare. We get a particular type of body, and out of how many? It's 84 lakh species. There are 84 lakh species in this material universe, and out of that we have gotten a human form. How do we get these species? It's according to our karma. So depending on the kind of consciousness that has evolved, the kind of karmas that we are engaging in, we get a particular type of body to enact out whatever our desires, and to use that body to fulfill certain remaining contaminated desires that we have. So the soul takes shelter within a body in this world according to its karma, and we can see in the right hand side table the amount of species that each class has. Now there are 30 lakh species of animals, there are 20 lakh species of plants, insects and reptiles have 11 lakh species, birds have 10 lakhs, aquatics 9 lakhs, and humans are 4 lakh species. So these are the different kind of species. Now I just want all of you all to pause here for a moment and probably think that whenever we go out, you must have seen the different trees, probably a lot of people taking dogs for a walk, or you must have seen whenever you go to a pond, you see different kind of aquatics in there. We have lived through each and every species. And that doesn't means if we've gotten a dog species, it's just one breed. Each and every breed of dog we have lived through. So whether it's a Dalmatian's dog, whether it's a pug, whether it's some other breed, whether it's a mango tree, whether it's a banyan tree, we have lived through each and every type of species that you would have probably seen in your regular life to come and get this human form of life. What happens basically, why we are going through so many species, is that the desires that had come into or that had contaminated our souls do not necessarily require a human body. Sometimes our desires are such that we just want to eat all our life. I just want to eat for all my life, and I want to sleep. I don't want anything else from life. Okay, so why are we wasting a human form? A polar bear is best for that, because a polar bear sleeps for 6 months and eats for 6 months. So why don't you take a body in which you can, you've got the kind of fur and everything to enjoy in a nice cool weather, which is so comfortable to sleep for 6 months, and you can eat for 6 months because you've got the appetite and intestines of a polar bear that you go on eating for 6 months. Why waste a human body which is not occupied to just be sleeping and eating for so long? So we've gone through each and every species to get a human birth, which is why Shastras, and not only Vedic Shastras, all Shastras, whether it's Abrahamic religions or non-Abrahamic religions, they all mention that the human birth is very rare. And this slide, I think, kind of depicts that very prominently to us, that we have lived through all of this to have come in a human form. Now, one question that may come up over here is that why are there 4 lakh species, of humans? So that has basically come because there are different kinds of consciousnesses in humans. Also, when we consider the human species, there are a lot of categories like Gandharvas, Siddhas, etc. They also come under the human species category. That's why there are 4 lakh of them. So Rakshasas, everything, they come under this 4 lakh species. So let us now understand what is death. Now we've understood who we are. We are a soul. We have been changing, we have been coming through different species, and we've got a human form of life. Out of 84 lakh species, we've got a human form of life. So what is death? Bhagavad Gita answers that for us. It says in Bhagavad Gita 2.13, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So death is nothing but changing a body. in a very short term, it's just changing body. Now, why is death so scary to all of us is that we are changing bodies practically every day. 30 years ago, I'm not what I am looking right now. I am different. I have changed bodies in all these years, and I will continue to change bodies. But at the time of death, the fact that we have associated so much with this body, that everything that is relating to this body, the family that is relating to it, the properties that are relating to it, the kind of social interactions, associations that this body has had, the possessions that this body has had, all become a part of us, and we think that, oh no, everything is finished. Whereas nothing was finished, nothing was ours in the first place, and nothing is going to get finished at the time of death, because we are going to be changing and taking into another body. So that is death. Death, in simple terms, is just changing body. It is just our inability to comprehend this change, or to kind of adapt to this change, is what makes death so scary. So with this, we have understood us, who we are, the different species that are there, and what is death about. Now, let us understand that when death occurs, what actually happens. So when death occurs, we need to understand that this gross body, which is basically made of 5 elements, Panch Mahabhut, it is known as earth, water, fire, air, and ether. This is what dissolves. This is what dies. So do we say that we have died? No, because we have understood that we are a soul. So the living entity in the material world carries different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body again, quits it to take another. So we understood the gross body remains, and we have 3 layers of bodies. One is the gross body, this outer covering, that is the skin and our flesh, etc., bones and all of that. And we have a subtle body, which is our mind, intelligence, and ego. And here ego is called as false ego. There is a distinction between what ego normally is and what false ego is. So let me clarify here what ego is and what false ego is. Ego is basically understanding self. Who am I? And false ego is basically when you wrongly identify yourself as something that you are not. So in this case, false ego is basically us identifying ourselves as this body. So we have our mind and we have our intelligence. Both of them are different. As per Shastras, as per scientific reasons, everything is considered to be in the mind and a part of the brain, that the mind is supposed to be somewhere subtly existing there. But our Shastras mention that the mind is different and the intelligence is different. And then there is false ego, which is basically us identifying with this body. That the fact that we're identifying ourselves as something separate from what we are not. And then we have the soul. The nature of the soul is Sat, Chit, and Anand. So Sat is eternal, that the soul is eternal. We saw that from the Shastras given in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. Sat, Chit. Chit basically is meaning that it's full of knowledge. By default, our soul is complete in its knowledge. And third is bliss, that we are by nature blissful entities. We are purely happy. We are full of knowledge, bliss, and happiness. So you may ask me that, Mataji, you're telling that we are eternal, we are full of knowledge and bliss, but I don't have all the knowledge. I don't feel happy all the time. That is because we have contaminated ourselves in our consciousness, because we are a very small fraction of the big entity who is Satchidanand, is our Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord is full in Sat, Chit, and Anand, and we are a very small fraction. Due to our small minuteness, it's for us, we can fall in the illusion of Maya. And that is because the Lord has given us an independence. The Lord doesn't enforce anybody for anything. He doesn't enforce bhakti on us. He doesn't enforce belief of religious practices on us. That is our choice. He's given us some minute independence, and when we misuse that independence, we get clouded by Maya. That then says, okay, you want to be the Lord, you want to be the owner of everything. Here, I'll put you into illusion, into darkness, where you will believe that you are everything. But we realize, thinking that, oh, I am everything, I'm this body and everything is mine, we start realizing that I'm not really happy. Why? Because by nature, I'm something else. By nature, I'm a soul, but I'm confusing myself with this body. So all of this, I had explained it so that we understand the distinctions between soul, a subtle body, and a gross body. When we die, the gross body gets diminished. The gross body dies away. That remains here. And the subtle body is what carries the soul to the next destination. This is very important. So the subtle body is filled with mind, intelligence, and false ego. And mind is what? Mind is basically, the job of the mind is thinking and wishing. So all what you have collected, all the impressions which you have collected throughout this life, all the wishes and desires that you have collected throughout this life, that is what you are carrying with your intelligence and false ego to the with the soul to the next destination. So if your mind was desiring a lot of things, you were desiring to live with your family for eternity, then that is what the mind will get attracted to, and it will look for a destination where it can get that desire fulfilled. It is going to look in for that. So it is very important to understand that this subtle body needs to be controlled. And what can control the mind? The intelligence, buddhi. Buddhi is what can control the mind. And for buddhi to be strong enough to control the mind, there needs to be certain kind of practices, and the intelligence has to be diverted to something which is stronger than sense gratification. So I hope this helps us understand that what is getting remaining. People think that acha nahi, mind also dies, intelligence also dies. No, that is what is going to carry you, and that is also part of what decides your next destination, the kind of desires that you've had and the karma that you have kind of accumulated. So with this, we now come to the different destinations. There are many destinations, honestly. We have just tried to curve them in these 8. There are some other ones also, which during the course of certain slides, we will cover them up. And if there is anything specific which you feel that we have missed out, we'll try addressing that as well. We're going to play a quick game over here. These are all 8 destinations. What is behind these destinations is something that nobody knows. So I'll request one person to probably unmute themselves. Let me start with one person. Let me just see who all are there in our chat today. Okay, so let's start with Revati Mataji, since this was a topic that came up from you. Why don't you choose a door, and let's see where the destination of your door leads to. So
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Could I select door number 6, please?
Door 6. Okay, let's see what's behind this door. Okay, so you have got the lower planetary systems. Not that you are going to be going there, but just what you have selected. And let us understand this. This is called as Adhaloka, or they are the lower planetary systems. I'll request everybody to look at the image which is given over here. So this is the entire description of the material universe. The material universe starts from the top, which is Satyalok, Tapalok, Janalok, Maharlok, Swarlok, Bhurlok, Bhurlok, Atal, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patal. This is our material universe. Okay. So in the material world, these are the different kinds of destinations that we have. So we're going to be talking about in this slide the Adhaloka, or they are also known as Patal Loks. As you can see over here, Bhurlok is the earthly plane, and the lower planes are called as Patal Loka or Adhaloka. Now, what happens in these lokas? Broadly, there are the lower species that exist in all of these lokas. So we have demons and rakshasas who live in these lower planetary systems. They've got their families, and they are always engaged in sense gratification. That is what they are doing throughout. They have no concept of what religiosity is, what God is. They are just busy in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That is all what they are doing. And it is so far away from the sun that the sunshine does not reach these planets. A lot of these planets do not get any sunlight. So in that case, of course, to do anything, we need light. And we are fortunate that on Earth, we are at a proximity where the sun can give us good amount of light and heat. But what about these planets then? So where do they get their light from? It's from the snakes. There are so many snakes on these planets, and the snakes on their hoods have jewels which are self-illuminating. So the light basically comes from there on these planets. So where is this planet? So in each destination, we're going to understand it this way: what is the destination about? So that's what I explained. What are these lower planetary systems? Where is it lying? So in the material universe, these are the bottom 7 planets. And who reaches there, or how to reach there? Those in the mode of ignorance, those who have leaded their lives in the mode of ignorance, they come into these lower planetary systems, or they go into the animal kingdom. So we saw the different kind of species in animals, and they go there. Now, what do Shastras say? Shastras say that if in this human form that we have got right now, if we concentrate only on the animal needs of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, then we are no better than animals. We are two-legged animals, and our next birth will be in the animal kingdom. So we are going to kind of either take birth as animals or fall down into these lower planetary systems where there is no concept of God, and there is a kind of only sense gratification which doesn't satisfy us. So there is a kind of suffering that constantly has to be living through in all of these planets. So about this is about the Adhaloka. Okay, let us go back. Now I'll request somebody else who wants to come in and probably choose another number. So Rachna Mataji, do you want to give a try? I think, do you want to choose a destination? Okay. Okay, anybody? Venkatesh Iyengar, Prabhuji, are you there? Yeah, so Prabhuji, do you want to let us know, give me a number so that we can talk about that particular destination? Okay, you have selected door 7. So let's see what has come in door 7. Interesting. So beneath door 7 is Brahma Jyoti. So Brahma Jyoti, let's understand what it is. It is basically the effulgence of the Lord, or the rays that are coming out of the transcendental body of the Lord. So the Lord by himself is so illuminating or so effulgent that his effulgence is practically infinite. There is no end to his effulgence. So this entire spiritual sky is called as Brahma Jyoti, which is basically coming from the Lord. It's the light coming from Lord. And this is the entire effulgence of the Lord. So where is this Brahma Jyoti? It's basically the spiritual sky only. The sky that is existing is basically the spiritual sky. So where does our material world fall in then? What the Shastras say is that the Lord's effulgence is practically everywhere. And in this effulgence, there is one small black cloud. It's in the Bhagavatam 2nd canto, it's mentioned that there is a black cloud, which is basically, since it's a black cloud, there is it's basically the Maya, and that is the material world. That is where the prisoners who want to lord over material nature, or people who want to be God themselves, it's a prison house. So that's where people are put in. So like in our city also, we know that there is a prison house somewhere. It's a small part, and that is where the prisoners are kept, or people who are put in over there, so that they can become purified and they become cured from their diseases, and they can come back to normal society. So same within the Brahma Jyoti, there is a cloud where this entire material cosmic is kind of been created for us, so that we can come fulfill our desires, get purified by learning Shastras, by understanding what is the purpose of life, and then move ahead to the spiritual world. So Brahma Jyoti is this sky. Now, how do people reach Brahma Jyoti? Brahma Jyoti is basically reached by those who meditate or worship the impersonal form of the Lord. So let us understand what is impersonal form of the Lord. A lot of people believe that Arey Bhagwan ka koi aakar hi nahi hai. There is no form to Lord. He is nirakar. There is no form to it. And they worship or meditate only the effulgence or the light of the God. And that is the kind of destination that they attain. Even the people who say that they want to merge with God, that they want to merge one with God, they actually don't merge into Krishna or Vishnu, they merge into this effulgence. Now the interesting part of this, which Lord Brahma says, is given over here. You see that those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material world. It doesn't matter whether one is a karmi, jnani, yogi. If one has no love for the lotus feet of the Lord, one falls down. This is the verdict given by Lord Brahma. Now we need to understand that though these impersonalists have, through their tapasya and through their gyan, come to this level that they have merged into Brahman, but still if they do not have love for the lotus feet of the Lord, and when we say lotus feet, it means that Lord is a person. He has a form. So till we do not understand that, they will again fall down to the material world. So Brahma Jyoti cannot be a permanent place of residence for jivas. Because by nature, the jivas, although are Satchit Anand, they are looking for some kind of activity, and Brahma Jyoti does not provide that. Brahma Jyoti, while it is a form of liberation, but it is that form of liberation which is condemned by devotees because there is no personal service or personal interaction with the Lord. And that is why this destination is not supposed to be a very favorable destination for devotees. So with that, we have covered Brahma Jyoti as well. So moving on to the next doors. Anybody else, any volunteers who want to come up and take the next destination? 6 and 7 are done. So you all, anybody wants to choose any other doors? Okay, you all can unmute yourself and go ahead and choose a door. So Rajkumari, you can tell me what destination you're looking for. Hare Krishna, Rajkumari, do you want to choose a destination? Okay, I see that you are unable to unmute. Okay. Okay, can you put it in your chat then? Which destination would you like? Okay, so Rajkumari has said door number 4. Yeah, I got that. Thanks, Chaitanya. I'll try to get it rectified. Hari Bol, you have chosen the door that goes to Goloka Vrindavan, which is the topmost planet in the spiritual world. So all glories to Goloka Vrindavan. What is Goloka Vrindavan? Goloka Vrindavan is the residence of the Supreme God, Lord Shri Krishna. And what happens in Goloka Vrindavan? Let's understand that. Why is it called the topmost planet? So in Goloka Vrindavan, all walking is like a dance, all speech is a song, the water is nectar, and the land is touchstone. So this is one of the descriptions that is given. The Brahma Samhita also describes Vrindavan as Lord Brahma says that I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending cows, yielding all desires in abodes built with spiritual gems and surrounded by millions of tapestries. He is always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. So Goloka Vrindavan, as you can see over here, the shape of Vrindavan as a planet is like a lotus petal. It's got lotus flower. So it's got a lot of petals as its shape. And that is where Lord Shri Krishna resides along with all his say Vrajavasis, all his family members, Gopals, Gopis, Nanda Baba, Yashoda Maiya, there is Govardhan. So that is Goloka Vrindavan. It has got all the spiritual gems. It's got all the opulences that one can probably imagine. And what is Krishna doing there? Krishna is tending to his cows. Krishna is playing with his gopas. Krishna is dancing with the gopis. Krishna is getting beaten up by Mother Yashoda. That is the kind of loving relation which is the topmost and the highest form of loving interaction with the Supreme Lord that can take place is happening in Goloka Vrindavan. And as devotees, we aspire to have service in this planet. So where is this? This is the topmost planet in the spiritual world. And how to reach there is also there. The practitioners of spontaneous, loving, pure devotional service to Krishna or the Raganuga Bhaktas reach Krishna's abode of Goloka. So what does this mean? This means that when we come to that level where loving Krishna is so spontaneous, where our mind, like I had discussed, our subtle body comprises of the mind, intelligence, and ego, where our false ego has broken and the true ego. What is true ego? True ego is that I am Krishna's servant. I am the servant of the Lord. That is true ego. When we understand and identify ourselves as a servant of the Lord, then we are in ego. When we identify ourselves with our body and that everything belongs to me, we are in false ego. When your intelligence is fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna and the mind eventually is also attracted to all the pastimes, the Nam, Roop, Gun, and Leela of the Lord, then in that case, we become pure devotees, Raga Gunuga Bhaktas, and we are eligible to be reaching Krishna's abode. Now, this all also takes Krishna's mercy. It's not only an individual's effort. Lord Krishna's mercy will also help us reach this particular destination. So thank you, Mataji, for helping us, Rajkumari Mataji, for helping us understand this door. And okay, moving on, Chaitanya, I think you said door number 5. So let's go with that. What is under door 5? Okay, so Chaitanya Prabhu, you have selected the upper heavenly realms. So where we are currently in earthly planets, which is called Bhuloka, and that is the 7th planet from top. There are 7 planets below it and 6 planets above it. So what we are calling as Urdhva, which is the upper heavenly planets, Urdhva Loka, are going to be the top 6 planets within this material universe. So if you can see the image, you can see there is Satyaloka, which is Lord Brahma's abode. Then we have Tapalok, Janalok, Maharlok, Swargalok, Bhuvarlok, and Bhulok is Earth, 3 planets. So we're going to be talking about these top 6 planets. What are these planets? These are the celestial worlds, the realms of the gods or heavens. They are heavenly planets. Here, the duration of life is much, much higher. So coming to the first planet, which is Satyaloka. Satyaloka is also called as Brahmalok because Lord Brahma resides over there. And the duration of life there is probably 15 trillion years. Yes, 15 trillion years. I don't think we can surpass the number of zeros that come in probably 15 trillion. But that is the duration of life that Satyalok has in this material world. So whenever there are different kind of devastations that happen in every day of Brahma's life, and this abode after the end of all 100 years of Brahma, and 100 years of Brahma are really long, then only this planet gets dissolved and the material creation comes to a pause or a standstill. Till then, all the people who are living in Satyaloka are living a very pious life in terms of the activities that they do. The kind of happinesses over there are magnified as the happinesses which are over here. So that is the higher planetary system. Then coming to Tapolok. Tapolok is basically, like the name suggests, it's for people who have done a lot of sages who've done tapasya. So they come in over here and they are performing a lot of tapasya. So Tapolok is for that. Janalok and Maharlok, they are a bit similar. These are different gradations. But to an extent, to just simplify it, Janalok, Maharlok is basically the kind of pious, saintly people, the rishis, the munis, etc. All of that get these destinations. The the destination over here is much favorable for them to be performing their tapasyas, because here in these planets the life and the quality of life is much better, more peaceful. So they attain these destinations. And Swargalok, like the biggest misconception that a lot of people have, they think that Swargalok is the ultimate destination. That beyond that, Swargvasi ho gaye, ya Swarglok prapt kar liya is meaning that he's going to be there for rest of eternity. But the Bhagavad Gita differs from that. The Bhagavad Gita 9.21 says that when they have enjoyed heavenly planets and the sense pleasures in those planets, they return back to the mortal planet again. So basically, these higher planetary systems are like a vacation. So from that perspective, it is not that there is a permanent residence over here. Even the people here have to go through degrees of old age, degrees of death, and sufferings as well. Although minute in quantity compared to the earthly planets, but they are also going through miseries as well as different kinds of, or they are moving towards death. It's not a permanent residence. So how to reach there? This is the topmost planets in the material universe. So I think we covered the lower planetary systems, the lower 7 systems. We've done the spiritual planet, the Brahma Jyoti, the sky in which all of this is. We did Goloka Vrindavan, and now we've done the top material universe. So I'll come back to the slide where we see all of these together in one snapshot again. How do we reach to these top planetary systems is through practice of Sattva Gun. So when we have imbibed Sattva Gun, or the mode of goodness in ourselves, even the people who worship the demigods. So in the Srimad, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna also says that the ones who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods. So your planetary systems like Surya, Moon, even Moon is actually a destination. Surya or the sun is also a destination. So the worshippers of Surya Dev or Chandra Dev, they can get their place in that particular planet, and that all is comprised in the Swargaloka. And who is the king of Swargaloka? Indradev. He is the ruler or the king of all these heavenly planets. And that's why this is also called as the realm of the demigods, the 333 million demigods. So this is the higher planetary systems. Okay. So we have covered that. Moving on to our next destination. Can we have anybody else put up on the chat that what destination or what number would they like to unfold? Okay. Asha Mataji, Maushimi Mataji. Anybody want to give a try? Okay, Pooja Mataji says 2. Let's unfold 2. 2 is Madhyalok, or the earthly planet. So you have unfolded the door to our own realm. Mataji, thank you for that. Let's understand Bhulok. What is the earthly realm? It's the world of the mortals, the realm of the humans, as well as plants and animals. Like we see a lot of species that are there. Where is it? It's the middle planet. So in the planetary system that we saw, Bhumandala is basically exactly in the middle. Now, the very interesting part of Bhumandala being exactly in the middle is of great advantage to us. So a lot of times Devi Devtas as well as a lot of sages, they prefer being in Bhumandala because this is the perfect appropriateness of good amount of pleasures as well as difficulties. So this loka in the what happens in the higher planetary systems is when there is a very good opportunity to enjoy a lot of sense pleasures, then doing bhakti becomes very difficult because you feel, oh, okay, I'm in control of everything. Everything is kind of in your favor. So you don't trend to remember God easily at that point in time. And the lower realms, the problem is that there is just so much misery, so much suffering, and your bodies are also in more animalistic kind of natures. The consciousness is also in sense gratification, that remembering God also does not become easy. But Bhumandala is the best mixture of both of these. That's why a lot of sages and pious people prefer being in Bhumandala so that they can get that appropriate mixture of both these worlds, and so that bhakti can be much faster and more direct. How to reach Bhumandala. So basically the mode of passion, if you are in Rajoguna, then you will again take birth as in a human body and again in the planetary systems. So that keeps us in the middle. So now I think the entire picture, I hope, is coming together. If you are in the mode of goodness, you go up to the higher planetary systems. You're in the mode of ignorance, you fall down to the planetary systems. If you are in the mode of passion, which is Rajogun, then you are sticking to the earthly realm. If you are meditating on the impersonal form of the Lord, then you get the Brahma Jyoti, which I had shown, the spiritual sky. And if you are doing to the topmost, you are doing Raganuga Bhakti, where Lord Krishna's service and devotional practice is practically imbibed in your nature, then Goloka Vrindavan is the highest destination. I hope all of this has come into picture. Okay, so moving on to the next destination. Anybody would like to put it up on chat? What door would they like to unfold? Prachi Mataji, Shresh, Seema Mataji, Shama Mataji, Kishore, Jyotsna, anybody? Okay, Shresh would like us to unfold door number 1. What do we have, Dhruv? Okay, so we have Dhruvaloka under door 1. Now, this is a very interesting look, because there was no owner to this Loka before Dhruv Maharaj came into the picture. And how did Dhruv Maharaj get this Loka? It's a very long story, but I will probably put it in brief. So Dhruv Lok is basically pole star. There was Dhruv, who was the son of Uttanpad. Uttanpad was the son of Swayambhu Manu, who is basically the father of mankind. Manushas come from Manu. So Swayambhu Manu had Uttanpad as his son, and Dhruv was very upset that his father didn't allow him to sit for him to sit on his lap, whereas his brother Uttam was allowed to sit on his father's lap and play, and his father kind of ignored him and shunned him down. And his stepmother, Uttama's mother, chastised him, saying that you should have taken birth from my womb, and then only you would get the affection or love of your father. So you should pray to Vishnu that next time you take birth in my womb. And Dhruv goes crying and so upset to his mother, whose name is Suniti. And general mother would probably tell him that how dare she say like that, I'm the bigger queen, and chastise the other step wife. But in this case, Suniti gave that advice to Dhruv that, you know what your stepmother has said is right. Your father is not so favorable to me right now, which is why he didn't favor you. But for all your problems, you should probably go to Lord Vishnu and pray to him, so that you can that you can be cured from this particular situation, that you should go pray to him. And Dhruv Maharaj goes to the forest, because from his mother he heard that if you have to attain God, you have to go to the forest. And he meets Narad Muni on the way. And that is the inclination, that when one decides that I want to attain God, God sends a spiritual master. God sends a representative of himself, who will kind of guide that devotee to the path of God. So in this case, Narad Muni came. Narad Muni first tested Dhruv's inclination or his ambition to attain God. And when he was satisfied, he gave him the mantra that, okay, go to Madhuvan, do tapasya. And Dhruv, within 6 months, did such rigorous tapasya that the Supreme Lord was so favorable to him, and he himself came to give darshan to Dhruv Maharaj. And Dhruv Maharaj had this desire when he had left his home, that my father had put me down, he didn't let me sit up on his lap. I want to rule a bigger planet than even my grandfather, and I want a bigger planet than my great grandfather. So his great grandfather is actually Brahmadev. And somebody who can get a planet bigger than Brahmadev and better than Brahmadev was practically unheard of. But a small child like Dhruv came with that feist, and the Supreme Lord granted him that boon. Although by the time Dhruv had performed his tapasya, Dhruv said that, you know what, I don't want anything now. The fact that I have seen you and taken your darshan is so purifying that it takes away all the desires away. That I was asking for broken pieces of glass from you, and looking at you, I've got a diamond. Now, why will I want the broken pieces of glass? I don't want such a look. But Lord Krishna, being the Supreme Father that he is, he told Dhruv Maharaj that no, now on you will be the ruler of Dhruvalok, which is the pole star that we see. It's the most shining planet scientifically mentioned. Now, where does Dhruvalok lie in the planetary system? Now, we saw Earth, we saw the bottom planets, we saw the top planets. So Dhruvalok is basically between Maharlok and Swargalok. So Sun comes in Swargalok. So it is between Swargalok and Maharlok. It is in that particular destination. And the constellation, the picture that you see over here is such that it's right in the center of the entire cosmic universe in terms of a horizontal jurisdiction. So all the planets, the sun and other planets, are revolving around Dhruva and they're basically circumambulating this loka. So that's why it is so special, because one, a pure devotee of the Lord is residing over there, and practically all other planetary systems revolve around it. Now, how to reach that loka? Or who reaches that loka? Those who are righteous in performing devotional service but have not become fully pure. Means they still have some materialistic desires. They've not fully purified themselves. They get a planet of Dhruvaloka. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is the boon that was given to him, where Lord Vishnu tells him that, my dear Dhruva, I shall award you the glowing planet known as pole star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution and end of the millennium. No one has ever ruled this planet, which is surrounded by all the solar system, planets, and stars. So this is in Srimad Bhagavatam. The story of Dhruv Maharaj, if anybody wants to know in full detail, is given in the 4th canto and 9th chapter. So this is about Dhruvaloka, which is there. Okay, moving on, we have 2 destinations left, and that will be the end of our session. So who would want to give a try? There's only door 3 and door 8 left. So do we have any other volunteers active who want to give a destination? Okay, 3. Vaikuntha Loka. Thank you, Maushami Mataji. You have taken us to Vaikuntha Lok. So what is Vaikuntha Lok? Vaikuntha Lok is the residence of Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi. The Bhagavad Gita says that the abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon nor by electricity. So this is the abode which is self-illuminating by itself, and one who reaches here never comes back to the material world again. It is filled with innumerable spiritual planets. And where is this? This is the spiritual world beyond the material universe. How to reach it? Approach a spiritual master, practice unalloyed devotional service, and that's how we can get the destination of Vaikuntha Lok. The Bhagavad Gita also mentions how to reach there, says that being freed from attachment, fear, anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they attained transcendental love for me. So this is another way in which we can reach Vaikuntha Lok. Vaikuntha Lok is basically the spiritual destination. It has got many planets, and each planet has a different incarnation of Lord Vishnu, who's kind of the predominating deity in that. So we've got Narsimha Dev there, we've got the other avatars of Vishnu who are existing in the different planets in Vaikuntha Lok. And the topmost here is Goloka Vrindavan, which we had discussed earlier. So within Vaikuntha Lok, the topmost is Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna and his devotees reside. And Vaikuntha Lok is more, the difference between Krishna Lok and Vaikuntha is that in Vaikuntha, the service, the devotional service to Lord Vishnu is with awe and reverence. So Vishnu is like the master or the supreme master of the spiritual world, and that is the kind of reciprocation that you do with him. But when your love for the Lord becomes more personal, which is beyond the Aishwarya aspect of the Lord and more madhurya, more rasila, then in that case, you want to be the mother of the Lord, you want to be the sister of the Lord, you want to be the friend of the Lord. That is deprived with Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. Here you cannot be Lord Vishnu's father or mother. In that case, you have to go to Goloka Vrindavan, be Yashoda Maya and Nand Baba, and then you can chastise Krishna and have that equation with him. Here, it is out of awe, reverence, and servitude that the service takes place. Okay, and coming to the final door, which is door 8, Narak. Okay, let's talk about Naraka. Where do these hellish planets lie? So these hellish planets, we saw the planetary system. They are below Patal Lok. Means the lowest 7 planetary systems, uske bhi niche. This is so bottom and so deep down that Narak exists, that these are the hellish planets. What happens over here is, and basically the ruler here is Yamraj, since we all know Yamraj, and I hope none of us ever meet him, but Yamraj basically is in charge of this lok, where it's a place of punishment for all the living entities. The sinners are come, they are persecuted, they are then either given a punishment or tormented, and it's a place for judgment. So the souls come there. Then there is Chitragupt along with Yamraj, who basically, like the name suggests, Chitragupt, he takes photos of you in a very hidden way. Basically, he's got all your records. When you think no one was watching and you committed sins, he's recorded everything. So Chitragupt comes up with your entire history, and then if there are sinful activities that you have committed, so that's why here it's given how to reach there. You have to commit sinful activities to go to Narak, and there you will be tormented in different ways. When I was reading this, it is a bit scary, but if anybody wants to know more about this, there are 2 books. You can refer to Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, or you can go to Garud Puran, where the entire journey of how the soul goes through hellish planets is mentioned. These 2 references are available to you all. So there are around 28 hellish planets, which are right below Patal Lok. And a question to some people who may be asking maybe later on, saying that where does Pitralok lie? Because a lot of times we are asked to be, giving food during Shraddh to our ancestors and forefathers. So the Pitralok is also between the Garbhodak ocean and the Patalok. It's somewhere near all these hellish planets, though it's not a part of hell as such. But the Pitralok also comes here. Basically, those souls who were so attached to family lives, but were pious in a way, they come to Pitralok. And the duration of life in Pitralok compared to earthly planet is 1 day and 1 year. So that's why every year when we give food during Shraddh, when we offer food, it's basically we are giving that food to our Pitras or our ancestors so that they can be relieved from any kind of sins or any kind of reasons because of which they are stuck in that lok. So that's why that lok is quite essential to understand for all of us. So with that, I think we have completed all the destinations. I'll leave the floor open to you all to have any questions. But before that, just an ultimate point that I'd like to share across is just one slide. The last slide, which is practically the essence of all of this. So I hope the slide is visible to all of you. The slide is from Chaitanya Charitamrit, where in the Madhya Leela 19.151, Brahmand Bhramite Kauna Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Kripa Pai Bhakti Lata Beej. So according to karmas, all living entities are wandering throughout the universe. Some of them are being elevated to upper planetary systems. Some of them are going into the lower planetary systems. And out of millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, one such person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. I think this is the summary of our entire session today, that we have been going up and down and going through 84 lakh species again and again and again since time immemorial. We are here till today. And probably some of us don't even know what destination we're going to be having next, or where are we going to take into the cycle. But this is our savior, is that we have to associate with a bona fide spiritual master, get the grace of Krishna, serving whom we can go back to the spiritual world, because we have been here too far and too long enough. So Hare Krishna to everybody. I will now